I'm not the first to install a mini split in an RV, but I am one of the few to mount one in a van, and I wanted to share my setup with you. First, let's start by watching the kilowatt meter as the unit starts up. There is no large inrush current. Rather, it starts at just a few watts and slowly increases. This is because the compressor is variable speed. Rather than needing to start at full throttle like a traditional unit, these mini splits with inverter controlled compressors all have this soft start feature. This makes them very easy to run with a little Honda suitcase generator or even one of those less expensive knockoffs. Eventually, this unit maxes out at about 360 watts. It only draws this much current when the set point is vastly different than the actual temperature in the van. As the set point and the air temperature begin to converge, the compressor and the fan slow down, which reduces the amount of current. While it's not real practical to run air conditioning exclusively from a solar setup, your only chance at being able to do that is to install one of these mini split units and spend the money to get the highest SEER rating you can find. How does a mini split work? They are real simple. There is an outside part called a condenser, and it just contains a radiator and a compressor. And there's an inside part called an evaporator, and it contains a different radiator and a super quiet fan. These two parts are connected together with the supplied copper tubing. To get any air conditioner to function, including a mini split, the condenser must be thermally isolated from the evaporator. In other words, the outside part must be outside the space you are trying to cool. My van came completely gutted, and there were these two large vents on the outside. I assume they were originally for a refrigerator. The lower vent was almost exactly the same size as the fan inside the condenser for the mini split. I essentially made an insulated cabinet for the condenser to live inside of. It just draws air in through the bottom and expels hot air through the top. I know this setup has to be less efficient than allowing the condenser to just sit outside, but I just couldn't figure out any other way to mount this thing that worked for my setup. The trans van only has a rear entry door, so mounting this outside on the back was not an option. This setup works really well, but if I were going to live in a van, I would definitely include more insulation and fewer windows. Thanks for watching. Questions, comments, leave them below.